Hey everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer. Today we're taking a look at the Rhino Rack Roof Rack system on our 2024 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. This is going to be the crossbar setup that I would recommend for most situations for your Jeep Wrangler. If you don't want to be drilling any holes or making any permanent installations, but you want something that's very practical and really be able to use and carry all kinds of cargo, well, this is the one I would recommend with some extra recommendations for length. So let's talk about the different features of this rack, where I have it installed, why I have it installed that way, and later on I'll show you how to get it installed yourself. Whenever someone asks me for a recommendation for their Jeep Wrangler Unlimited for a roof rack, this is usually the first one I start off with, just because for most situations this is going to be your best choice. Good mix of length of crossbar, doesn't sit out too far where it feels like it might add a little bit of bulk if that's what you're worried about. It also has great versatility. You can put it pretty much anywhere on your gutters, and it's easy to install as well as uninstall. But for certain situations you might need something more. For example, if you have the Sky One Touch roof where it's a soft top that folds up, I've actually found that if you get the extra tall towers, you'll still be able to have a roof rack and be able to use your roof. So that's going to be a good option for you. Check out our fit guide here on our website to find the best fit. But here we have the 59-inch long crossbars, but there is another option if you do need to go longer. This is the first recommendation from Rhino-Rack for crossbar length. They're 59-inch bars. They give you about an inch of overhang on each side. They're going to be your more sleek option. I personally prefer the 65-inch long bars because then you get a little bit of space for overhang to clamp other things onto the end. It's easier to reach if you have your Jeep lifted and you have more space for more things. But I also understand that some people prefer sleekness over a long crossbar, so the 59 inch is usually the way people go. Now you also have a locking end cap on the end. This requires the special Rhino Rack key to remove, so if you have things mounted to the top of your bar, that's going to be a great option for you. These have removable strips that when they're on there help with making everything aerodynamic, but if you want to mount things on the channel on top, you just come off and you just cut them to size. Next is going to be your roof height clearances. So this actually sits really nicely to our roof of our Jeep on the sleeker and lower profile side. If you measure from the roof to the bottom of the crossbar, I have it here at the highest point, I have about 2 inches of clearance. And then if you measure for the height of the crossbar on the roof, this sits about 3 inches tall or a little bit higher. So this is on the lower side. If you do have large clamps, let's say U-bolts with wing nuts, you might not have space for that. Those are usually your more affordable accessories too. A lot of your more high-end accessories have straps or just easy clamps that go around, and that's what I recommend getting. Otherwise, look into your T-track mounted accessories where they sit on top and you don't have to worry about anything scratching up your roof. Same thing goes for your cargo. If you're carrying skis with tall bindings, double check to make sure you have that clearance. If not, look into accessories that give you more height. And there's also crossbar spread to think about. So I have our crossbars set to about 32 inches apart. That measurement is measured from the center of one bar to the center of the other. You also have the option, and I see this a lot on Wranglers, of getting 3 crossbars onto those gutters because you have all this space to work with. So that could be an option for you as well. They're all going to have the same weight capacity, same features. You'll just have more base area for your different types of cargo. So if you need to carry around something short, like a small roof box, go ahead and move your crossbars closer in. And when you want to carry those extra long ladders or those long kayaks, you can move your crossbars further apart. That's the perks of the versatility of a gutter mount system. And all those kits are available here at eTrailer. I've installed a bunch of them, whether it's the 2-bar version, the 3-bar version, the extra tall Sky One Touch compatible version. They're available in a black as well as a silver aluminum color as well. You can have add-ons, whether it's metal lock cores to go onto the end caps, and you have all the tools included except for a 10mm wrench. So if you are looking for a really good and versatile roof rack system that isn't too pricey, where it sits at the best bang for your buck, where you get a lot of features and that's what you're paying for, well, the Rhino Rack Roof Rack is a good option for you. At this point, it's simply a matter of how long of a crossbar do you want and what color do you want it to match your Jeep. So I talked about how easy it is to install as well as uninstall. So if you're curious about that process and want to see how all the clamps work together, let's check that out. The installation is going to be relatively simple. You just have to make sure you have all the right parts put together. It might look a little confusing, but that's what this video is for. I already installed the rear crossbar, and we are going to install the front crossbar together. I also play around a little bit with the spacing of the bars, so depending on what you carry, it might be a little different for you. But the first thing we need to do is set up our parts. You're going to have some Vortex strips, and these need to be pushed into the top of your crossbar. If you have any excess, just cut them off with some scissors. You're also going to have these end caps. Now, just check that the end caps work by putting them in and then turning the key, and then give them a good pull, and then you know you have a good fit there. But we're going to leave the end caps off for now. Since we're using aero bars, we have the aero bar adapters. So this is just a quick run through of how it all works. We are going to get the gold colored plate, and then we're going to have a split washer and then a bolt. That's going to go in from underneath your crossbar. I like to fit that plate in between these struts so that it has some good support. Now when you turn the tower over, you're then going to place your plastic plate. Notice the way I have it angled. I'm going to turn that around so you can see that it only fits on one way. So once that's on there, you're then going to grab your silver plate, and that will go on top. Again, notice the orientation of the plate. We don't want it lengthwise like this. We want it facing this way. We're now going to just thread slightly that bolt underneath, just enough where it doesn't fall off. We keep it loose like that so that we can slide that bolt onto the underneath of your crossbar. Notice how this easily slides on there. We're then going to hand tighten that 10mm bolt where you can still slide it around, but it doesn't fall off. We found that we need to bring our tower as far as the edge of the crossbar. I already have the towers set up with the clamps. So the clamps are going to consist of a sleeve that goes over the back gutter edge. You then have your metal clamp, and this does have a rubberized side to it. And then to hold it all together, you have our other clamp and our bolt. The bolt will have first a flat washer and then a split washer on top. Now get up onto your roof and gently place your roof rack onto your gutters. Now this is going to be a lot easier with a second person to watch for you, but still not impossible on your own. The main thing I aim for are having the first clamp fit into the gutter. And that way I can slide the rest of the clamp over our door frame and make sure everything's secure. Now these bolts do tend to get stuck, so make sure they're loose as you are fitting this over your door. And then push down on the clamp as well to make sure it's fully seated. The perks of gutter mounted feet are that you can put them pretty much anywhere you want on your gutters. Rhino-Rack does have a suggested spot for them, but for me, I like to put the front bar right here in the middle of the front door and the rear one towards the back. That gives me a good amount of crossbar spread, and since these bars aren't that long, I'm not worried about hitting my head against them as I enter into the vehicle. But that's totally up to you and what you are carrying. Once you've decided where you want to put your roof rack, the next thing you do is measure for overhang. Make sure it's the same on each side so that way you know it's all even, and then you tighten down those clamps. So make sure you push down on the clamps as you tighten them down. And then using your special included Torx tool, you're gonna tighten down those bolts until that split washer flattens out. We want to prevent over tightening these bolts, so just keep an eye out for those split washers. You do need to bring a 10mm wrench to the table. I do recommend an open wrench like this, and even better a ratcheting one, because that will make things a lot easier. But something small like that will be able to fit into your bolts and your tower, and just tighten both sides down. When everything's secure, again, just double check the bolts underneath the bars, the 2 bolts on the clamps, give it a good old shake test, and then we're going to put the end caps on. Those just pop right in, turn the keys to make sure they're secure. If you are replacing these plastic lock cores with the metal lock cores, now is also a good time to get those installed. But once all 4 towers or crossbar ends are capped, that's going to be it for your install. You're now ready to load this up and hit the road. What you saw here today was our Rhino Rack Roof Rack kit with the 59-inch long Vortex Aero bars, the Vortex adapters, and the Rhino Rack gutter mount feet, all here on our 2024 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited.